over that. What's going on, everybody? We are back with a new episode from the Conscious Approach channel. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, if you're watching this on the Facebook page, wherever you're watching, appreciate you for tuning in. JB Wins is here once again with Doggone SS for your garden variety social commentary. So let's talk about this real quick. I saw this on World Star. I'm pretty sure the origin of the video is TikTok because it seems like every video now that ends up going viral in any kind of way originated on TikTok. It's starting to make me think that maybe I need to get on TikTok because I currently am not. I don't have enough hours in the day to add yet another social media profile into my bandwidth. So I have not gotten onto the TikTok wave, but apparently I need to because there's a ton of content out there, including this. So this is a video of a woman describing how a real man should be acting or behaving. And I guess the point that she is trying to make is that conventionally the idea of how a real man is supposed to act, according to what most women think, has been wrong this whole time. And she is saying this is really how it's supposed to be. And so you women need to get up on game in terms of how to recognize a real man when you see one. I think is what she's trying to say.
I think that's what she's getting
at. Yeah. So it kind of sounds like that's what she's trying to say here. So let's see what she has to say, and then we will opine as we usually like to do.
Let me tell y'all how to spot a lame even when he's single. One of the biggest tips is when he's comfortable being posted up, being posted out with different women all the time. Real men, a real boss mentality, a boss status, don't want to be seen with nobody if it ain't his wife and his girlfriend. He don't want no hoes, getting no clout, or even being attached to his name, even if he is single and out here dating until he get the right one. Y'all gotta stop thinking that that's attractive. I cut a dude off just for that reason alone. You're goofy with no standards and no self-respect. Shit, I might even think you got something. I like men of standards and class. You're not really lit until you're untouchable. Being a pass around is distasteful. You ain't nothing to have for real, and I'm gonna treat you just as such.
There you go. So a couple of layers to unpack there, right? So it kind of sounded like she was saying that it is not attractive to be a man who is kept by multiple women. And women need to understand that that's not really what attractive is. It kind of sounds like that was a part of what she was trying to say. There was some other stuff there too. That was one of the things that I peeled away. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
Honestly, it wasn't making sense. I had to watch it a few times just to understand what point she was trying to make. This was really personal, I feel like, for her. I think I think what she was trying to say is that she doesn't like how men are dating nowadays, where they're filling out their options and they're trying to figure things out and they're not committing to certain things, prematurely. And he's weighing his options. And so the thing about men is we're not really as covert, honestly, with how we have our rosters and our teams. Women tend to be a lot more covert of how they have their guys in the shadows. So men are pretty much obvious, at least when they're dating and getting to know each other. The woman, she's going to pretend she's absolutely 100% single, nobody in the wings or nothing like that. So the guy, hey man, well, I'm single. So I'm going to weigh my options. I'm not committing to anything, blah, blah, blah. And so I think she's tired of that. And she's associating that with lamery because she thinks that those guys are playing around. I think that's what she was getting at. And then from the other side of what she was talking about, a boss guy, I don't know what the hell that means. But at least from where I think she's getting at is what she believes a mature man is. And so she's projecting something that she's honestly probably never had it or experienced before in her life. So that's why honestly, her idea of a man, she said that the first guy didn't have standards, but the boss guy does. The first guy, he does have standards because, well, he's weighing his options and he's not settling for anybody. So I don't know what she's really getting. That's why it really doesn't make sense. This doesn't sound well thought out. If she really wanted to get her point across, I think she would have to unpack more. But from the layers that she gave me, it seems pretty narrow. It seems pretty not well thought out. And I think it's just ironic that she would be sitting there telling, men how to behave and how to act while she's, acting masculine. I mean, her posture, her stance in that chair is pretty aggressive. And I'm not catching feminine vibes from that. So it's kind of weird that she's trying to articulate what a man needs to be when it's pretty obvious to me that she's not fully representing what a woman is. So she seems to be a little bit confused herself. And so I think personally, again, I think she's speaking from personal experience. And that's why this seems so targeted. She's talking about her exes and or guys that she dealt with. And she's over that. So now she's assuming and hypothesizing what a real man is, but she just literally explained the first guy. So I don't know. What do you say?
Yeah, man. It's crazy how sometimes we kind of get similar interpretations. Mm-hmm. I think she is definitely speaking from personal experience. Mm-hmm. I don't know who this woman is, but I'm looking at the video and I'm just going to assume, based upon her appearance and the way that she is speaking, that she is one of the many women today who operate in the modern day sense of dating, which is I'm going to be a part of the club scene. I kind of explained this type of atmosphere in the last video that we did. She strikes me as the type of woman who spends a lot of time, or maybe she used to spend a lot of time making sure that she is in whatever city the Super Bowl is in, because she's at all the Super Bowl parties. She's at every NBA All-Star weekend. She goes to the Classic every year. She's going to the club pretty much every other weekend. She goes to the strip club a lot. She's one of those women. And women like that tend to go for a particular type of guys. And she's probably been burned by those guys because guys like that do nothing but burn women. That's what they do. For whatever reason, these women get with guys who operate in these spaces, in the professional athlete entertainment spaces, and then they get bewildered whenever they realize that those men are going to treat them the same way that they treat every other woman that they come in contact with. Exactly. So she's probably been jaded several times throughout her dating history because of the types of men that she has chosen herself. And so now that she's gotten jaded because of the fact that she's been burned multiple times, she wants to kind of reinvent the wheel and try and describe what a real man is supposed to be acting like. The only thing that I'll give her partial credit for is when she started talking about how women should not find men who portray themselves as playing the field as attractive. I once had a friend, not once, I do still have a friend. This is a woman we used to hang out from time to time. And she was one of these women who was constantly experiencing cognitive dissonance when it comes to her dating situation. Because she was always talking about how characteristically she wants to be with a certain kind of guy. But the kind of guys who always piqued her interest were the opposite of that. And so I used to tell her, your greatest flaw is the fact that what your brain is telling you is good for you is the complete opposite of what your vagina is telling you is good for you. And those things you find difficulty in reconciling those two diametrically opposed, levels of attraction, essentially the brain and the vagina. Mm-hmm. And to her credit, she admitted it. I don't know how to overcome that. I know logically that this is the kind of guy who would be good for me. But in terms of what excites my emotions, it's the guys over here. And usually the guys who excite these women's emotions are guys who keep multiple women. Because for whatever reason, women perceive a guy who has multiple women as desirable, juxtaposed to a guy who does not have multiple women. That guy must therefore inherently be undesirable. And so I'm not going to desire him, because if I did desire him, where are his women? That's how they gauge whether they should like a guy or not, based upon the fact that he has other girls. But then they get with the guy and then they realize that they're just one of the many girls, and then they get frustrated. Well, you are, ma'am, having difficulty reconciling your inability to like sort of consolidate your attraction points. And it kind of sounds like she's speaking from that place. She's probably trying to goat herself mentally into finding a certain type of character of a man as appealing, even though her history and her behavior suggests that she's not on that wavelength. And so those two things are coming out in her inability to effectively articulate what it is that she's trying to say, to your point. Because I as well was confused. Like, I was listening to what she was saying and I was like, okay, are you suggesting that good men are desirable, or are you suggesting that desirable men need to start acting good? Because those are two different things. And I think if you asked her which of those is the right thing, she probably don't even know, because she can get in front of that camera and she can say all of that stuff all day long. Mm-hmm. But come this weekend, I don't know what city she live in, but she gonna be on the scene. She's going to be on the scene. And when she gets on the scene, she's not going to be looking for the type of guy that she just tried to describe in that video. Exactly. She's going to be going for what she has typically gone for throughout her dating history. And it's the same thing that most women nowadays, I find, are doing. And so, yeah, I didn't really get what she was putting down. But I do think that the deeper point behind it is she's 100% speaking from personal experience. Her appearance just kind of screams, these are the kind of guys that I have routinely gone for, but I'm tired of getting burned. So what she's essentially trying to do is find the unicorn, the perfect man who operates in these streets in the way that gets her juices going, but is also going to be a guy who's not talking to other women, because according to her, that's, quote, not attractive. But those very same qualities are the things that attract you to those same men. So I think, Lucy, you got some explaining to do, is how I took that.
Yeah, and even the part where she was saying that the boss man, he don't want to be seen nowhere with nobody unless it's his woman. Well, how is he going to find out you're going to be his woman unless he takes you out? That's the part that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't, what she's saying is not making sense.
It doesn't seem practical. Yeah.
No. So that's why I feel like there's a deeper layer to what she's talking about with these lame dudes. And she needed to do a better job of describing these lame dudes, because the guys that she was saying that were lame, that's a pretty big bucket that she just described. And then so she goes on to say that, hey, the boss man, he don't want to be out here with all these women and stuff like that. Well, I mean, I don't know. How do you know that? And so what the whole thing is that she's just explaining the mature man, and she just throws boss on top of it. And again, this is where things get confused, because at least she sounds confused, because she's throwing boss on there as if that means something. So she has this image of what a boss is, and that's what a boss man is. And she wants that. So this is the same delusion that it sounds like she just came from. So she's going to get the same results.
Yeah.
And so this is how delusion sounds. And so this woman here, she's really trying to, that's what I'm saying. She contradicted herself and all in the same minute. That's why I was like, hey, I think you better. But the thing is that, well, it goes viral. And so the problem is, guys, once we see it, we're going to get our laughs in and have our choice words. But there's probably some sisters out there that's absorbing this in the capacity of, because I'm a boss bitch, and I need a boss man, a boss whatever, and so they're thinking, So now if you talk to a guy and he meets you, day one, whatever, and y'all trying to get to know each other, and she asks, hey, what's your status? You're dealing with somebody right now. I'm talking to somebody, whatever. What is he supposed to say if this woman is speaking gospel? Oh, you're not going to be taking me out and some other woman. I'm not trying to be seen. Oh, what? What are you talking about? So this woman obviously sounds like she got played too.
Yeah.
And so her whole thing is like, oh yeah, well, I'm over getting played. I'm the player now, or whatever she's at. And it's just like, look, girl, it is what it is. All right. The comment section was getting at her too, of course. And basically getting at her, saying, hey, you got a sleeve like a man. All right, you got on a man's watch. You talking brick talk. It's like, what kind of man are you going to attract?
Yeah, what is this boss? Yeah, explain this boss.
They got at her paste on hair, that quote unquote baby hair she got on her face, and the fake lashes and the pounds of makeup. But I get what the makeup thing is for some women, because I've heard women say it's therapeutic. To each their own. I'm not a woman, so do your thing. But at the same time, when they have these pounds of makeup like this and the lashes, the 8-inch lashes or whatever the hell they got going on, it just, this also hollers, like you say, on the scene, aka not suitable for wifeage. So it's just oxymoronic that somebody that it doesn't seem like wife material is telling other women what to look for in a husband, even though it doesn't look like she will ever achieve this goal. So yeah, it's actually quite humorous if you look at it. So.
Yeah, well, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to reinvent the wheel. That's what a lot of them they try to rewrite what it means to be wife or girlfriend material. Mm-hmm. I just think it's similar to when we talked about the women who are on that podcast before, trying to create these delineations between a man who works versus an entrepreneur and how one is desirable versus the other. And so you and I kind of went back and forth on that. And based upon what they were saying, what I was gleaning was they just want a dude who's a baller. That's what they want, but they're coding it as entrepreneur to try and make it seem as though it's an esteem that it really isn't. Exactly. And so, you're not really, because if it was really about entrepreneurism versus not, then you would get with a struggle rapper who's broke because he's an entrepreneur. But you'll never do that. So it's a specific type of profile that they're describing, which represents like 1/10 of 1% of a population. It's an even smaller percentage than that little piece of the Brooklyn Nets that Jay-Z used to own, like 0.1 of 0.2% or whatever the number was. Like, it just doesn't even practically make sense. And that's what this chick is doing with this boss stuff. Like, what she wants, let's be honest, what she wants is, like, I don't know, a rapper or a dude in the streets who's faithful to one female. That's what she wants. But she's coding it as a boss so that she doesn't come off as that type of chick stereotypically who goes after guys who are rappers or entertainers or dudes in the streets, because they're insecure about that label. And so they do everything they can to sidestep it by throwing in all of these obscure qualifiers to try and throw people off the scent. So they'll use words like entrepreneur or boss or whatever other adjective, like all of these weird words that you want to describe. And it's like, listen, lady, you know exactly what it is that you're looking for. Now, what you're looking for isn't practical, but you'll keep searching for it until you hit the wall. And then when you hit the wall, you're going to then have the sensibleness to go for what it is that you should have been going for when you were in your prime. But those guys aren't going to go for you because they don't see that as a fair trade. Not when, those guys aren't going to go for you when you've already given your best years, especially physically, to something that wasn't them to begin with. So they're completely trying to reinvent the wheel. And she is entirely a chick who's on the scene, I believe, and is just somebody who's saying, can all you guys who also like to be on the scene just pick me to be with just me? and relinquish everything that you've been doing up until this point and give me what I want, which is a quote unquote baller who will only be seen with me and me exclusively. And it's like, listen, sit down for a second and just think about how realistic that is. It's not like it's not gonna happen. It's I'm not trying to be a pessimist here, but ma'am, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And the only way that your fortunes are going to change is that you're going to be with a guy who is a quote unquote boss in the real sense, not in the fake social media hip hop sense that you're thinking of. It's for you. It's for you to change your mentality. But women rarely change their feathers until it's too late. And then they, or once it's too late, then they, kind of, think about the fact that it's too late, and then they get discouraged because now time is against them. So then they start complaining about time constructs. So, they just find new things to complain about based upon the particular phase of the life that they're in. But at the end of the day, this is sour grapes, and it's a lot of complaining about something. It's people, in this case a woman who is the engineer of her own misfortune, trying to come from up under her misfortune while making no attempts to change her priorities or her preferences whatsoever. And so when you don't engage in that form of self-improvement, you're going to continue to get what you get. And at the end of the day, just like I like to say, you kind of have no one to blame but yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but and the irony again is that her talking about the boss guy being classy, and looking at her, she doesn't look classy. And that again, the irony of what are you talking about? So, like, her looking like this or whatever, take her to a classy place. People gonna look at her like, is this, is she treating this like, because she's gonna wear some dress that accentuates things, sleeve out, lashes on, the whole nine.
Yeah.
Weave glued to her face like it is now.
Yeah.
And then she's gonna be sitting there, thinking she's classy at my ballroom function, embarrassing me. All right,
but see that's what's so interesting is in her mind, she ain't thinking about ballroom functions. I really think that what she's trying to get at is I want me a gangster who is faithful to one woman. And that one woman is me. That's what she wants. So when she talks, when the class with which she thinks of is the class that is rooted in the type of social ecosystem that is inherent in those types of people. Whatever that is, because I don't operate in that world. But whatever people like that do, and they define that as classy, that's what she's thinking about. She's not thinking about her corporate America boyfriend taking her to a work function or to a professional conference. She ain't thinking about that. She's not thinking about that. She's thinking about no, I'm just saying. That is not what she's thinking about. What she's thinking about is she wants to be with her boss, who's going to, they're going to be in whatever car that they in when it's, some popular event going on in some city. Pick some, city. She wants to be in. I can't even think of some off the top of my head. Like, being in Atlanta or something, or going to Essence Festival in New Orleans or something like that with her boss boyfriend or whatnot. And that's classy, I guess. And looking like a hip hop couple, like a glorified version of Gucci Mane and whatever his wife's name is. And that's what they're doing. But of course, she has no compunctions about whether he's seeing any other women because he's only with her. That's what she's thinking of in her mind.
Right. There you go. You nailed it. She wants the Gucci marriage.
Yeah.
She wants that. You had said hip hop boss. She doesn't want an actual real life boss.
Yeah, exactly.
An actual real life boss may scoff at some of the activities that she finds entertaining. So, and again, man, it is what it is. But she was speaking from so on high, way on top of that soapbox, that she's allowed to have her preferences. But when you're attacking a whole, constituency of men, like how she did. Like basically, because basically she described me on that first bracket.
Yeah.
Basically, where hey, single guy. Well, hell, I have to weigh my options. Hey, it's crazy out here. Are you a crazy person? I have to find out. So let me date you. Let me find out what's going on. And hey, yeah, I might be talking to somebody else. Big whoop. You're probably talking to somebody else too.
Exactly.
So what's the big deal here? And so and weighing my options, finding the right thing, and let's go ahead and do this. I feel like that's respectful. I feel like that's having standards. You know what I'm saying? So whatever somebody just absolutely dunked on her and just had her feeling some type of way, may have been recent, may have been old, who knows. But she this experience that she's speaking from, I wouldn't say this is the experience of all women. And so she's just speaking from some place. And I think because, again, she's coming off like she's a boss, like as if we should listen to her. Somebody's going to be like, oh, well, hey, man, you know this? I don't know who this is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But she's coming off as if I should know her. Again, this is part of her ego, So, of course, she wants somebody that would mount her. So a hip hop man that has more ego than her. And again, that's tapping on your point to where, I want somebody with equal amount of sauce as me, more sauce. And he doesn't cheat on me. He doesn't ask me to cook. He takes me out. We go to France. And it's like, oh, this is great. This is great. What did you do? My vagina is a vagina. And it's like, damn, that's a good point. You do deserve things. It's ridiculous, bro. So yeah, man, this madness that again is just being propagated all over the internet from the blind leading the blind. Honestly, one glance was all I needed to be. I mean, honestly, again, this is one of those situations where if I saw her in public, even if we interacted, me and her interacted, I would automatically, oh yeah, she's a cool person, but I'm not interested. Mm-hmm. And she probably said, well, that's fine. But I wouldn't be interested because of how dominant she comes off. She comes off as a person that would try to have power struggles with their man. She seems like a masculine type. So yeah, man. So to each their own. I don't like masculine women. You don't like quote unquote lame men. So it is what it is, but she definitely doesn't fit my bill. Sorry.
It exactly is what it is, man. Yeah, I 100% believe that was coming from a personal place, and she like I said before, she is the engineer of her own misfortune, and she, like a lot of people, not just women but people in general, they are willing participants in their own insanity. They do the same actions and behaviors repeatedly, trying to get different results. And when they don't get those results, they get on their soapbox and complain about it. She's not trying to get with a salary, classy corporate America guy. She wants a hip hop boss type street dude. That's what she wants. But she's trying to suggest that those dudes need to stop their entire behavior and change what they do in order to fit her worldview. And that's just not going to ever happen, because those types of guys will always not be with one female at a time, let alone with somebody such as you, who probably insists on at least half the time being the star of the show. So good luck with that. I like to feature videos like this because it's a cautionary tale. Because we speak a lot about how prevalent this type of mindset is across the board, not just with people or women who come from the type of background that she may come from, but just how normalized and mainstream it's becoming based upon the prevalence of it and our exposure to it. And so, you might have a lot of people, a lot of women who think like this, who come from a background that is opposite hers. And so, I just like to talk about this kind of stuff to let you know how completely impractical it is. And how if you continue to think like this, you will eventually be someone who is staring down the barrel of 40. And then when you're 40, you'll be complaining about how you're single when you had plenty of chances to not be. So good luck to this chick. I'm pretty sure her phone has several club promoters, DJs, and rappers. Maybe a couple NBA players, NFL players, and something like that.
Also entrepreneurs.
Yeah, right. Entrepreneurs, yeah. Boss men, entrepreneurs. All right, next up, we have another clip here. So this Dusty Crusty right here, my buddy, decided that he would make his girl pay for her share of the date because she would not give up the box. So stuff like this is always kind of weird to me because my whole thing is, if I'm on a date and the girl starts TikToking our date, I'm going to tell her to put the damn phone down. Like, you're not going to be recording our date. So whenever I see stuff like this, I always wonder, like, is this real or was this fake and made for clicks? But, you know, for the purposes of this conversation, let's assume that it wasn't recorded for clicks and that it is indeed real. And so, you know, here we go. This guy basically telling the server to bring 2 checks because he's upset that the girl will not put out after the date is over.
All right, guys.
Did you really come up with 2 separate checks?
Yeah, actually.
You're really gonna make me pay? No.
Well, anyway, man, she's not gonna give you what? Oh, man, that's great.
Man,
Wait.
Are you?
I'm gonna pay 15.
This is a show, yeah.
Fuck you.
See, that's a show.
He's really making me pay you guys.
Hey, how you doing?
You're fucking taking me home. You're taking me home. No.
You want to give that to the ride?
No. You're taking me home.
I think you need the food.
All right, you guys. He's not making me. He's making me pay for my food because I won't have sex with him. That's the sad thing. Look at this man. Don't ever go out with him. Don't give him your number. Just fucking run.
Y'all hoes hungry.
Tell you, man, TikTok is the gift that keeps on giving, man. Yeah, so old boy basically told the waiter to split the check up because apparently at some point it became apparent to him that he wasn't going to get no action at the end of the date. I guess my initial reaction to this is the central point that so I think of 2 things that come to my mind immediately. The first thing that comes to my mind is the imbalance premium that us men have placed on vagina and how that clouds our better judgment from time to time. But I know why we do it. We do it, and I've referenced this before. We place such a heavy emphasis on it because as men with dwindling social skills and with dwindling manhood and patience, we've become so bitch made over the last 1 or 2 generations. We place such a high premium and stock on this particular exchange with any particular female because we don't know that if that situation works out, when we going to be able to get our next nut. And so that extreme sense of urgency causes us to kind of push the envelope and push the issue. When in reality, all you have to do is just play your cards right and be patient, and it'll come in due time. But you got guys like this. Now, to be fair, I don't know how many times they've been on a date, but based upon this video, it seems like that was the first time that they had hung out because of her tone and what she was saying and how she, you know, talking about how don't ever go on a date with this guy. If you see him, just run. I feel like that was the first time that they hung out. And so this is the first time that y'all are hanging out and you're already taking it there. It tells me that this is somebody who is involuntarily celibate and does not know how to handle it. He is an incel in the purest sense of the word. He doesn't get action on a regular basis. And so because of that, he presses and he emphasizes it to the point where there's such a heavy sense of urgency that if it doesn't get to that point, he's freaking out because he doesn't know when he's going to be on his next date, because he doesn't know when's the next time a girl's going to actually go out on a date with him. So for him, he's like, let me put all my eggs in this basket and go for broke. And rarely ever does that make rarely ever does that work to a man's benefit. So that's the first thing that comes to mind, is just placing that unreasonably high premium on sex, especially in that particular circumstance when you're talking about hanging out with a girl on the first date. All you gotta do is just pay for a couple more days, bro. It's gonna happen. But here you go, pressing the issue. The second thing that comes to mind is social atrophy. Lack of social skills once again. And I think these two themes for me kind of tie together. I feel like if this was a guy who was more self-assured in how to communicate effectively with women, this would be a non-issue for him. But because he does not have those requisite skills, he is at the mercy of being lucky that a woman decides she's going to give him some, even though he may not have earned it. And, the reason why I kind of maintain this take is because I think that it is something that more men need to pay attention to. If you're struggling or frustrated with how these situations are playing out, or if you found yourself in a situation like this is something that you can kind of take cues from and learn how to evolve your game so that you don't find yourself in that situation. But for me, my initial thoughts watching this was, I don't know what the girl looks like. I don't know what their rapport has been. I just know that if I'm in that situation, I would probably handle it different than the way he handled it. And I think the way he handled it contributed greatly to why he ain't going to get no ass from her, to use his words. Right. And so, this is one of those things where I kind of say, hey, man, guys, there's a different way to handle it. In all likelihood, she's not completely absolved from any culpability in that dynamic. We've said time and time again. This isn't a blanket statement. These aren't generalizations. We don't want to leap to absolute conclusions. So she's probably sharing some of the blame for how this turned out. But I do believe that men are the head and men do set the tone. And so when you set a tone of being a beta, you're oftentimes going to get beta results. And so it would behoove you as a man to know how to set alpha tone so that you can get alpha results. But that was my initial reaction.
Yeah, for me, I wasn't too sure either if this was like a skit or something. I first took it as real. Then, I saw comments that, would suggest maybe it's not. But so even then, it's still the dialogue. The reason why I went viral was because, this is a thing. And so speaking on this type of behavior, I agree with you, 100% that this is behavior like this comes from a sense of urgency because they don't have or don't get. And there's this sense of desperation that calls shots for them instead of actually, like you said, being patient and stuff like that. And so when I was a young person, I would lose patience. I never did anything to this extreme. Right. But I would lose patience because the first date didn't go as fast as I want. I didn't want to smash, but I wanted it to go faster. Right. And then I would lose patience and then not follow up. And then, later on in life, I was like, damn, all I had to do is follow up.
Yeah. I've done it. I feel like we've all done it. I've done that too.
Yeah, man, all I had to do is follow up and then whoop-de-whoop. Yeah. So my dumb ass, the first date didn't go how I wanted to go, so now I'm tripping. Yeah. So, so if this is a real scenario and this guy has this level of urgency at that age, then it really does speak to where he's at in his life. And that's just not somebody that a woman should be trying to date like that anyway. If this was the first date, girl, it better have been blind and he showed up like that. But apparently he picked you up and drove you there.
Yeah.
So at this juncture, you got what you paid for.
Yeah, literally.
So in this situation, if this is a real scenario and this woman here really saw this man, got in the car with him, all right, this first date, and he came this groom wearing a Looney Tunes or something t-shirt, and you got in the car with him and went abroad, this guy could have drove you in the woods looking like this. But you had to get that free Applebee's, didn't you? That free Applebee's.
And it wasn't even free.
Well, it turned out
it didn't even end up being free. That's the worst part about it. She thought it was going to be, and nope.
Hey, bruh's side was $15. Hers was $42. Somebody thought this meal was free. And so now that she's got to pay, oh, now she's mad. And so, hey, you surprised? How'd you meet this guy? You know, so there's so many scenarios. It's like, hey, man, you get what you paid for. But this also speaks to a situation where, again, there is now, I mean, it used to go on back in the day, you know, women just milking you for the date, you know, but not as pervasive as it is now. I mean, it is really an art that women are out here doing. I mean, it is what it is. I don't mind. I'll go on a first date. I'll do whatever. It is what it is. All right. So I'll go do it. If it turns to find out that I was just a finesse, you know, she just, oh no, I just wanted a free meal. And if that comes to be, hey man, it's part of the game now, guys. Yeah. It's part of the game. You still got, if you still want to get results, you still got to go out there and play, because you never know. This one that you did take out, she's not about the foolishness, and she actually looks good, so it was worth it, kind of thing. Right. So don't go out there and go, oh yeah, you know, hell, they all the same. Hey man, if you got to pay the cost, you gotta pay the cost. And so if you want to succeed out here, hey man, do what you got to do. And I'm not saying trick off, because I'm Captain Dutch over here. I will split a check in half. But at the same time, on the first one, you know, whatever. It's on me, because whatever the hell. You know what I'm saying? But especially when it's her suggestion. Oh, yeah, well, we're cutting it. You know, so I'm a 50-50 guy. I thought women liked that. That's another topic, though. Because 50-50 dialogue, because my whole thing was like, hey, I'm bringing, you know, this relationship is 100%. I'm bringing my 50, which is my 100. You're bringing your 50, which is your 100, and we make this 100 relationship work. It sounds great on paper, but then in practicality, once you start making them do stuff that they want you to do, but it's like, hey man, it's 50-50, right? And they just can't stand it. So it's a situation where you can't really run a situation like that. Come to find out, women want, just like the first lady said, a boss. And they want somebody. If you want a boss, man, then are you willing to be the employee? So at some point, you know, as men, we have to be in an alpha state, as you stated. Be in a situation where you're not treating situations like this. Because even if she did try you, bro, even if you know that you're not going to get none or anything by the end of the day, just take the L and roll on, bro. Just be mature, you know? And so if there is people out here that, because I'm pretty sure there's cats out here that will pull this because they think they're you know, pouring one out for Kevin Samuels or something. So they're going to sit there and, you know, stand their ground and be rude. You know what I'm saying? Just completely pump faker the whole time, thinking that you're going to pay, and then whoop, we split it. Why? Because I'm catching the vibes that we're not having sex tonight. So I'm not going to pay. We're splitting it. It's like, man, that cannot be a thing. I did see a video, however, where it wasn't about sex. It was just about, bro, we got to show that one day. But it was just about, bro, he was out with the girl, and he was like, hey, he told her, hey, keep it humble. You know, it's our, you know, don't run it up. She ran it up. So he split it. So he was like, hey, I told you not to run it up. Look at your tab. Look at mine. I had Groupon. Oh, you had Groupon? Oh, you broke. What? I was going to pay for you. Oh, yeah, you got to see that video, bro. So this is, if there's a situation where, hey, man, you came in on a humble, you really wanted to take this girl out, and she's ordering top shelf everything, and you can clearly tell you're getting gas. Hey, man, maybe you might want to go, hey, well, we splitting this, or, you know, 75-25, what are we doing here? Because I'm damn sure not paying for all of this. So there is a cutoff, man, because again, the game has changed so much, and I really haven't been out there like that, you know, with the new wave. You know what I'm saying? But with the new, if what they're doing is like really, like I said, they're like doing this on purpose now. So if they really go there to run it up, they're really getting doubles, and they're really, you know what I'm saying, getting dessert. You know what I'm saying? Like you ordering dessert now. So that kind of stuff is wild, man. So yeah, man, but just take the L, be a man, budget it in, you know, budget dating into your monthly budget. You know what I'm saying? I know I do. And then that way it just comes out, but it's like, you know, your 401k, your taxes. It's just something that comes out of your paycheck. So it keeps you socially moving, you know. So that's how I felt about that.
Yeah. I'm going to go a little macro.
Okay.
So personally, I believe that it is, as a man, I personally believe that it is your responsibility to ensure that you are prepared for all possibilities when it comes to your dating and relationship situation. I do believe that when it comes to relational dynamics, men set the tone and women acquiesce. So women are going to pick up on whatever tone you're setting, and they're going to behave accordingly. So if you set a tone that they perceive to be a situation in which they are going to run it up on you, I feel like that's on you. That's not on them. Because if you believe yourself to be a man who is supposed to be the head and running the show and all of that kind of stuff, trust me, intrinsically, women are willing to comply with that so long as they're dealing with the guy who is able to do it, you know, in the right way. Mm-hmm. So as a man, it is your responsibility to be prepared for any and all possible outcomes. Okay. And the reason why I bring that up is because personally, I think that as a man, especially in 2022, if you are going to be someone who takes on the task, the challenge of being someone who is on the dating scene, you have to be prepared, regardless of who this woman is, or regardless of what your rapport is, whether you think she's humble, whether you think that she is an attention seeker, whether you think that she is someone who is out for a check or a bag. I don't give a damn what type of woman you think she is. As a man, if you are going to be out here on the dating scene, you need to be prepared that I'm going to take a woman out, and regardless of whether I'm going to get the outcome I want or whether she's going to run it up or not, I know that I have the ability to sustain that because I prepared for it. So I just kind of feel like if you're going to take a chick out, you have to know this $150, $200 I no longer have. It's set aside for this specific purpose. So even if I'm dealing with a broad, even if I'm dealing with a chick who's going to run it up, I prepared for this beforehand. And so I am able to incur that loss. But I'm still going to invest in the situation in the event that it works out in my favor. If you are a guy who is ill prepared in that fashion, you shouldn't be out here dating. That's my personal opinion. Unless you're going to be dealing with women who are just so extremely low maintenance that they don't mind if you take them to Applebee's, and if you can't handle it, she's going to be okay with you splitting an Applebee's check. Like, bro, Applebee's is not Ruth's Chris or Prime 112. It's Applebee's. You can get 2 meals for $20 at that place.
Right.
So at that point, I feel like it says something about you as a guy for you to take a woman to Applebee's and get so discouraged because the outcome isn't going to play out the way you want it to, that you're going to split the bill. Like, it's Applebee's. So that's why I think at the end of the day, this becomes a reflection upon you as a man and to any other man who is in that particular situation. Like, don't put yourself in that circumstance if you are ill prepared to take on all the risk. Like, that is just your responsibility as a man. Deal with it and move on. That's our reality. Okay? I talk about this often. It's two sides of the same coin. So that's our undesirable side of the coin. Women's undesirable side of the coin is, I got to make sure that at all times I'm looking good enough to make sure that he's going to want to continue to take me out. I'm pretty sure in a perfect world, women don't want to spend 2-3 hours getting ready for a date, but they do it because that's what they have to do. It's their side of that coin. It's their reality. They probably want to go out looking whatever kind of way they want to, but they know that if they do that, they're probably putting themselves at risk of not getting the outcome that they want. So we all deal with sides of the coin that are particularly undesirable. If you as a man are going to be out here dating, you need to be prepared for that. Don't go out here ill-prepared and then get mad when the woman is disrespecting you because of your lack of preparedness. Be prepared. So, and now, and to be honest, I kind of think it all works hand in hand. I think men who are self-assured and have great social skills are more than likely the men who are going to be prepared to incur the risk. And the guys who are out here dealing with social atrophy and being involuntarily celibate are more than likely the guys who are going to be ill-prepared to incur the risk. And I think that if you're ill-prepared to incur the risk, you need to take a step back from dating and work on yourself and improve yourself to the best of your ability so that you can come back to the table prepared. And this is not to let women off the hook, because women have some messed up, egotistical, self-absorbed, egomaniacal ways, and we can go on and on talking about that. But I'm not focused on them. I'm focused on us as men and what we need to do to best position ourselves for success. And that's something that you as a man need to do to best position yourself for success. Don't be the guy who says, I'm so pressed for vagina because I'm such an incel and I have such poor social skills, and in all likelihood I am so ill-prepared economically, financially, that if I put all my eggs in this basket and it doesn't work out the way that I want to, I'm going to split a check at Applebee's, a place where you can get 2 meals and a dessert for less than $30. So, that's kind of my macro level way of looking at it. I just kind of feel like, to quote Scar from The Lion King, you got to be prepared out here. Be prepared. Don't come to the table unwilling to bargain. You have to have all your ducks in a row. Because if you have all your ducks in a row, at the end of the day, you can rest head. You can rest easy at night knowing I did what I had to do. This didn't work out because of extraneous circumstances that were beyond my control. But if you come to the table and all your ducks are in a row, you don't know whether, if they had been in a row, if it could have worked out in a better fashion.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? That's just kind of how I see it. But there's too many people out here who just aren't willing to do what they have to do so that they can know for sure that, if they're in a TikTok video, it wasn't because of what they did or didn't do, but was definitely because this chick was crazy. This guy cannot definitively say, hey man, I was dealing with a crazy bitch. He can't say that because he was in a situation where he was unwilling to come to the table prepared.
And even then, right? So, I mean, it's just a certain level. Like I said earlier, it's just a certain level of maturity is all. It was weird for me at times trying to figure out, I want to feel older. I want to be mature. I just didn't know. And it just took life experience and stuff like that. But when you're somebody that this guy's age, this is like a lesson that should have been learned, to not just conduct yourself like this. And like you said, man, just take the L. This should be something that you should be equating anyway. And so, I mean, I get it. Everybody ain't got, high paying jobs. So, so it might be circumstantial or whatever. And hey, man, I just couldn't afford that. And, again, like you said, if you can't afford that, then that's when you have to, look inward, bro, and really dig deep and get yourself right, because you should be able to afford $30 or whatever.
Yeah, if Applebee's is your, I'm not saying that you need to be a guy who can afford to take a chick to Prime 112. If Applebee's is your lane, you need to be able to be prepared to work out in your lane.
Yeah,
that's it. So if Applebee's is your lane, if your thing is I'll take my chicks to dates at Panera Bread, if that's your lane, then you have to be prepared to incur all of the risk, and you have to be willing to make all the full investment at Panera Bread or Applebee's. You can't be a guy who's operating in that lane and you still aren't prepared for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so for me, like we said earlier, for me, I'm not a first date guy. It doesn't have to be. If it happens, so be it. I think I think like the closest for me is first date next day. It's good enough. First date, I did my job. Next day, it goes down.
That's nothing to slouch at, man. That's good
Exactly.
stuff.
And that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
if it's like that, so everybody, and again, man, I don't know what kind of standards a guy puts on himself, but for me, man, the way that I live my life, and it's just like, hey, man, I like the results that I get, and it ain't bad, and the things that I do are pretty conservative. I'm not really that hard pressed to, because why rush it? And so it's just one of these things, man, where a certain level of maturity should have already been there for somebody his age. And so yeah, man, just take it in stride. And that's the best way to deal with these things. But the good and the bad that comes from the manosphere online and the red pill waking up and all that good stuff is that some people are using this hammer for assault.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey, man, you're supposed to use this to build sheds and stuff. Like, you're out here wielding this thing like a madman. Oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, those are good points, bro, but not right now. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, man, that's fair, but come on, bro. So there's like a level of discernment that has to be, used when you're equipped with such information. The internet has provided these men with a lot of information, myself included. And so with, great power comes, great responsibility. And you have to be able to wield this information because, man, men are logical creatures. So all this information online, we will apply it. That's what men do. So, but it's all about how you apply it, man. And you got to apply it with some class, like how the last girl said. Yeah, man, and just be less rough around the edges with it, man. Like you don't have to let them know your playbook. Just play the plays, man. Just do your thing, and so you ain't gonna hey, bro, just pay for it and walk out and never see her again. And that's just how it rolls.
Yeah.
Last chick I took out, had a good time when it was, whatever we did on the date. And then it was just it was post date. We just still hanging out and talking. And, ideological differences in life. I had my stance. I wasn't upset or aggressive because this is the first date. I don't even want to talk about this. But she insisted and she's going for it. And she has her stance. I have my stance. But at the same time, I'm saying, I really don't care, really. This is how I feel, but I'm open to change. And then she's still just hammering away. I said, you know what? I don't have to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to deal with this. Yes, she's cool. Yes, the body looks nice. But I don't want to deal with that. Like, this is first date. She's going to give me hell, 6 months from now, if I keep this up. So, yeah, man, just I didn't say nothing bad to her or whatever. To me, it was just not a match.
Yeah.
I just let it go.
Yeah, bygones and bygones type stuff.
Yeah, I don't have to blow up. Oh yeah, you need to tighten up. I don't need to straighten her out, man. Just keep it moving and just keep it pushing, man. Keep it playing. That's what I say keep it playing, man. And what I mean by that is keep it amicable. Keep things relaxed. You don't have to beef with nobody. Beefing with people is so stupid. And so when you're dealing with women that are trying to antagonize you and then you have an antagonistic spirit within you, then you're rolling in the mud with her. So the whole point is by keeping play and keeping it cool and keeping it even kill is basically, I had to learn this from some interesting situations, but I learned that, hey man, if I just keep it chill and not blow up, not care, not this, not that, and just live mellow. If you're at the table and this lady's running it up on you, you know what I'm saying? You got your budget set aside for this. So you brought more than enough for this situation. It happens. You kept it amicable. She'll never know. She'll probably think there's a second date coming after this, the way that you handled it. And if you just handle life like that, hey man, that first girl might have been on something. Because that's handling life like a boss. And that's classy, bro.
Oh my God. Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
You know it. That is so classy.
Yeah.
No, bro. I'm serious though. That was a joke, but that was
No, yeah, I know. I just think at the end of the day, you have to be someone who knows
yeah.
that I did what I needed to do to get the win. So
Yeah.
a loss was not necessarily on me. And so it's like this guy, and what frustrates me is that like this guy, after that situation, he'll probably get on his own TikTok if he has one, and he'll make a woman bashing video. And it's like, dude, this chick caught you on a video splitting a check at Applebee's. So at that point, you're kind of not really in a position to create any kind of content like that. But that's what we see time and again, is like people who don't want to accept responsibility for the role that they played in a particular undesirable outcome, getting on their own soapbox and talking about how they're in the right and how everything needs to be this way according to their own worldview. And it's like, bro, it's like, listen, you have no credibility. Your credibility is shot because like the situation played out in such a way where you left a whole lot of you left a whole lot of shots out there. Like you left a whole lot of room on the table for things to have been done differently that you didn't do differently. So you need to hold yourself accountable for that. And like, this guy will probably make videos or whatever. He'll probably make a post and he'll probably bash the chick who made this video about her. And so that's when we get that whole tit for tat thing going on, which serves no real purpose other than to just be antagonistic and combative. And it's like, look, man, from a man's perspective, at the end of the day, you just need to have your ducks in a row. And his were not. And so when they are not, you open yourself up to ridicule. And at the end of the day, you need to be able to know that you can retain all of your self-respect and dignity as a man by not opening yourself up to reasonable ridicule, because this is reasonable ridicule. But that's just pretty much how I saw it.
Not fair. And but yeah, man, this is an interesting situation, man. But just hopefully, bro, that we don't have too many guys out here thinking like this. This is a bit extreme. This is extremist red pill views. And I don't get down with it all the way. Again, if there was a situation where y'all agreed on something and she ran it up, fair. Right. But if there was a thing where, hey, I'm going to take you out, I'm going to pick you up, I'm going to drive you there, I'm going, bro, finish the job.
Yeah.
And again, man, and this, because what are you doing when you're setting this standard for yourself in life? And so, you just taking a ball and going home. Like, I don't get it. And do you really want vagina under those circumstances?
Right.
Like, I don't understand that. So what level of desperation are you at where you want forcible vagina? Just
it looks like it looks like he's pressing and begging. That's what yeah. It's,
bro, is fucking spinach artichoke dip and goddamn nachos, whatever the hell,
mozzarella sticks.
Yeah, she had a couple margaritas. Big whoop, bro. Take the L. She's been drinking.
Yeah.
No, it's just like, bro, who cares, man? But yeah, fellas, if there is a bone in your body, man, where you're at least entertaining doing those things, at least have standards of when you're going to do such. And we've spoke on those standards, man, but just at least have standards on when you would pull a card like this. But simply because you don't even think you're going to get a hug, but at the end of the night, you're not going to pay, then, hey, bro, that's your fault for this situation. You should have found out somehow through either the conversation through text, phone call, or when y'all first met that she really wasn't digging you like that anyway.
Right.
So that's just one of those things too, man. What kind of fishing are you doing? And man, I'm the barrel guy. I shoot my fish in a barrel. And so I know the ones that want me, so it's not a big deal. And it's just like, yeah, basically when I ask them out, they're like, God damn, yeah, it's just take me out. And it's like, all right, cool. Yeah. But for the ones where I had to scratch, claw, I want to take that. Hey, man, that's the one that's going to take you for the free ride.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing too, fellas. It's all about the evaluation process, and only mess with females that's trying to mess with you.
Yes.
And so staying in your lane, staying in, hey, bro, I get it, bro. I get it. But she bad. I get it, bro. But you're not doing the male equivalent of that right now. So
Yes.
wherever you're at right now, then go live that. One of the coolest things I ever see, bro, is emo anime kid when he got a bad low key anime emo girl. And it's like they're in their same lane.
Yeah.
He found something just for him, and she gets it, and they're there, and they're loving it. You know what I'm saying? That's I believe in that there's somebody for everybody. I really do. And people just have to be honest with themselves, look in the mirror, and say, "Hey, this is where I'm at." And these 6s and 7s I keep attracting, like, God damn it, that might be where I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Own up to it, champ. And then ball out with the 6s and 7s, until you at least get your weight up so you can evolve. Because brothers, the cool thing about us is our wall is financial. So just get your money up, then your rates increase. And honestly, you could be in the same shape, you could still have the same buck tooth. You know what I'm saying? The same whatever that got people calling you ugly. But if you got guap as a man, you can get a Halle Berry. So the cool thing about us guys, like we said, it just digging into ourselves and making sure that we actually get to the bag, do what we know we need to do, so we can have the best options available for us. And so we're not Applebee's man. You know what I'm saying? Because this is definitely a cautionary tale.
Yeah, it really is. And yeah, I think that one of those last points that you brought up is very important, that not enough of us follow, is just dealing with women who have mutual interests. Now, by no means does mutual interest guarantee you the exact result that you want, but you're in pole position when you're dealing with a woman who is also interested back. But don't deal with women who are apathetic or indifferent, because that's going to result in something that you don't want, and that's what you should avoid. Know that you're dealing with somebody who's interested. Like, a lot of this stuff is simple, but we just make it complicated sometimes.
Hey man, apparently some people don't know, bro.
But that's what happens when you press. When you press, you make things up in order to keep going, because you just want it so bad, because you're not accustomed to it or used to it. So you press and press and press in order to rationalize why you're putting in such an inordinate amount of emotional and physical work. And oftentimes that investment just doesn't pay off, because if you're pressing and it's working, if you're pressing and it feels like work, it's because you're dealing with someone who's not interested. If there's mutual interest, if she's interested, it's not going to feel like work like that, and you're not going to feel like you need to press. You'll still need to do your job to not mess it up and to come to the table ready to bargain, but you're not going to have to work at it like that. You know, building it brick by brick, as they say.
Yeah, no need to shoot threes when the game's not out of reach. It's not even in the fourth quarter yet. There's no need to chuck it from half court. Like, there's no need for that. So
like if you can get a layup, get a layup. Don't shoot a three when there's nobody at the basket.
Yeah, bro.
The
game done changed, bro.
It really has, man. It really has. But that'll do it for this particular video, man. Always a good time chopping it up. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Certainly appreciate it. We're going to continue the influx of fresh content onto the channel, so please be on the lookout. And again, hit that subscribe button so that you can get notifications whenever new content is posted to the channel. You can follow the Conscious Approach channel on Instagram at ConApproach, CONAPPROACH, and you can follow me on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. There's also a Facebook page for this channel. If you happen to be watching this video on that, please share the video and hit the like button on the page. As always, I certainly appreciate you supporting logical content.
Yes, sir. And the name is Dogon SS. All right. You can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS and on YouTube at Dogon SS. All right. Or any other social media platform. All right. At Dogon_SS. I'm lurking out there too. All right. So go ahead and follow or subscribe or whatever it may be on those platforms. All right. But yeah, appreciate the subs. All right, over here at the Conscious Approach, appreciate the subs, appreciate the likes and all the love, man. Appreciate you guys. All right.
Yeah,
but
for sure. Yes.
Yeah, man. And as I always say, man, don't be too high, don't be too low, man. Keep it playing, man. Keep it chill, and honestly, keep it amicable. All right, going out here, creating conflicts for no reason gives you a lot of personal anxiety for no reason, man. So do yourself a favor, man. And if you are beefing with somebody, clear it on your side of the street so you can sleep better at night, man. So I think that was a good lesson that we learned today, man. So yeah, man, keep it player, keep it chill.
Yeah. We don't need to be out here making enemies, man. And you men, man, fellas, man, need to learn how to come to the table ready to bargain. So we'll keep on pushing our content. But until the next time, we'll see you later. Peace.